2 minutes late. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon.
Welcome po sa DPWH Sorsogon 2nd District Engineering Office, Barangay Payawin, Gubat, Sorsogon. Today is July 30, 2026. Scheduled for today's pre-bid conference is for the contracts 26FL 0019, construction of water supply system level 2, Barangay Gogon and San Isidro, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon. Barangay Gogon, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon, Barangay San Isidro, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon. And 26FL 0024, construction completion of multi-purpose building daycare center, Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon, and Barangay Putiao, Barcelona, Sorsogon. Cluster 3, Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon, Barangay Putiao, Barcelona, Sorsogon. Present here today for today's pre-bid conference are the following: Joanna C. Calagos, Back Chairman;
Present.
Levi D. Pura Jr., Back Vice Chairman; Leia E. Fontanares, Back Member;
Present.
David B. Almia, TWG Head, present po; Cesar L. Luisin, Back Member;
Present.
Pamela Crystal C. Duarte from Planning and Design Section;
Present.
Nathaniel B. Alegre, Back Secretariat; Diani Albay, IB.
Present.
Madam Chair, for today's pre-bid conference, meron na po tayong forum. Ang wala pong representative from contractors here today.
Okay, since we have a quorum, this pre-bid conference is now called to order. The agenda for this pre-bid meeting are as follows. First, basic contract data, requirements of bidding documents, eligibility criteria, documents to be submitted by the bidder, including technical and financial proposal, criteria and procedures for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, cost qualification and award, summary of proceedings including bid bulletins, supplemental tuition, questions, comments from the bidders, and replies of the BAC and other representatives of the procuring entity, and other matters. And to discuss the basic contract data is Engineer Pamela Duarte.
Basic contract data for contract ID 26FL0019, contract name, construction of water system level 2, Barangay Gogon, and San Isidro, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon, cluster 9. Contract location, Barangay Gogon, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon, Barangay San Isidro, Prieto, Diaz, Sorsogon. Approved budget for the contract or ABC is 9,800,000 pesos. Source of fund is GAA 2026. Contract duration is 104 calendar days. Predetermined unworkable days or rainy days is 26 calendar days. Cost of bidding documents is 10,000 pesos. Submission of bids scheduled on August 14, 2026 until 10 a.m. Opening of bids August 14, 2026, immediately after closing receipt of bids. Major category of work, WSL2. Project description for Barangay Gogon, Prieto, Diaz, the scope of works. The scope of work for this project includes the construction of a level 2 water supply system. Works cover the development of a new water source, construction of source protection facilities, a powerhouse, reinforced concrete reservoir with a slow sand filtration system, elevated distribution tank, and installation of the necessary water conveyance and distribution pipelines. The project also includes the construction of 3 communal top stands, perimeter fence with 2 access gates, installation of 1 6-meter high street light with an 80 watts LED luminaire, provision for a future solar photovoltaic PV system, installation of all required mechanical, electrical, and ancillary facilities, as well as site development, testing, commissioning, and other miscellaneous works necessary to make the water supply system fully operational. Objective: to provide Barangay Gogon with a reliable and sustainable level 2 potable water supply system that will improve access to potable water for domestic use. Project description for Barangay San Isidro, Prieto, Diaz. Scope of work. The scope of work for this project includes the construction of a level 2 water supply system. Works cover the development of 2 water sources, consisting of one new source and one replacement source, the construction of an elevated distribution tank, installation of the necessary water conveyance and distribution pipelines, and the construction of 8 communal tap stands. It also includes the installation of all required mechanical, electrical, and ancillary facilities, as well as site development, testing, commissioning, and other miscellaneous works necessary to make the water supply system fully operational. The objective is to provide Barangay San Isidro with a reliable and sustainable level 2 potable water supply system that will improve access to potable water for domestic use. Here are the geotag photos and the environmental clearance for Barangay Gogon, Prieto Diaz. The environmental clearance is currently in process. The geotag photos and the environmental clearance for Barangay San Isidro, Prieto Diaz. The proof of ownership for Barangay Gogon, Prieto Diaz. The proof of ownership for Barangay San Isidro, Prieto Diaz. Here are the certifications for the cluster, the certification for the CMPD, the certification of validation, and the certificate of compliance for the material prices and the equipment rental rates. Here's the detailed engineering design plan for Barangay Gogon, Prieto Diaz, the cover page, summary of quantities, the vicinity map, and other details. Here's the detailed engineering design plan for Barangay San Isidro, Prieto Diaz, the cover page, the summary of quantities, the vicinity map, and other details. Requirements of bidding documents, instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, bid data sheet, specifications, the DPWH Blue Book Volume 2 and 3, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. Here's the bid data sheet. These are all downloadable from the DPWH website or the PhilJobs website. The same with the special conditions of contract. Here's the bill of quantities for Barangay Gogon, Prieto Diaz. The bill of quantities for Barangay San Isidro, Prieto Diaz. Minimum manpower requirement. Project manager must have handled infrastructure projects. Project engineer, DPWH accredited project engineer. Materials engineer, DPWH accredited materials engineer. General construction foreman must have handled similar projects. Safety and health officer must have undergone 40 hours basic construction safety and health training. The minimum equipment requirement: dump truck, all models, payloader LX82C, bulldozer, water truck or pump, backhoe, all required 1 unit. Next is for the basic contract data for contract ID 26FL0024. Contract name, construction or completion of multipurpose building, daycare center, Barangay Talisayan, Prieto Diaz, Sorsogon, and Barangay Putiao, Barcelona, Sorsogon, Cluster 3. Contract location, Barangay Talisayan, Prieto Diaz, Sorsogon, and Barangay Putiao, Barcelona, Sorsogon. Approved budget for the contract or ABC is 4,950,000 pesos. Source of fund is GAA 2026. Contract duration is 115 calendar days. Predetermined unworkable days or rainy days is 52 calendar days. Cost of bidding documents is 5,000 pesos. Submission of bids scheduled on August 14, 2026 until 10 a.m. Opening of bids August 14, 2026 immediately after closing receipt of bids. Major category of work PIC WO PLC. Here's the project description for Barangay Talisayan, Prieto Diaz. Scope of works. The scope of work for this project includes the construction of a 9-meter by 6.15-meter multipurpose building or daycare center. Works cover the construction of structural components, masonry, roofing, installation of doors and windows, and finishing works such as flooring and painting. It also includes the provision of toilet and hand washing facilities, plumbing and electrical installations, and other miscellaneous works necessary to make the facility safe, functional, and fully operational. The objective is to establish a safe, functional, and accessible daycare center that supports early childhood education by providing an appropriate learning environment, promotes the physical, social, and cognitive development of children, enhances the delivery of child development services, and provides adequate facilities for teachers, children, and parents. Here is the project description for Barangay Putiao, Barcelona. Scope of works. The project involves the completion of the second floor of the existing multipurpose building or daycare center in Barangay Putiao, Barcelona, Sorsogon, including the completion of structural, architectural, electrical, and plumbing works, the improvement of the front porch through rehabilitation and enhancement of its existing features, and the construction of a dirty kitchen with the necessary structural, roofing, plumbing, and sanitary facilities, including all related and site development works required to make the facility fully functional and serviceable. Objective is to complete and improve the existing multipurpose building or daycare center in order to provide a functional, safe, and accessible facility for educational and community-related activities in Barangay Putiao. Here are the geotag photos and the environmental clearance for Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz. The geotag photos and the environmental clearance for Barangay Putiao, Barcelona. The proof of ownership for Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz. Proof of ownership for Barangay Putiao, Barcelona. Here are the certifications for the contract ID. Here's the CMPD, the certification for the validation, and the certificate of compliance with material prices and the equipment rental rates. The detailed engineering design plan for Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz. The cover page, the vicinity map, the perspective and summary of quantities, and other details. The detailed engineering design plan for Barangay Putiao, Barcelona. The cover page, the vicinity map, the perspective and the summary of quantities, and other details. Requirements of bidding documents, instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, bid data sheet, specifications to DPWH Blue Book Volume 2 and 3, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. Here's the bid data sheet. These are all downloadable from the DPWH website or the PhilJobs website. The same with the special conditions of contract. Here is the bill of quantities for Barangay Talisayan, Prieto, Diaz. Here is the bill of quantities for Barangay Putiao, Barcelona. Minimum manpower requirement: project manager must have handled infrastructure projects, project engineer, DPWH accredited project engineer, materials engineer, DPWH accredited materials engineer, general construction foreman must have handled similar projects, safety and health officer must have undergone 40 hours basic construction safety and health training. Minimum equipment requirement: dump truck, payloader, backhoe, and bulldozer, all required 1 unit.
Key points: the lowest calculated responsive bid will be used as the criteria for award. The amount of advance payment is 15% of the total contract price to be made in lump sum. All progress payments shall first be charged against the advance payment until the latter has been fully exhausted at the option of the procuring entity. The contractor shall submit the program of work to the procuring entity within 10 days of delivery from the notice of award. Submission and receipt of bids. We follow the 2-envelope system, where the first envelope contains the eligibility and technical requirements, and the second envelope contains the financial proposals. Our bid validity is 120 calendar days from the opening of bids. Sealing and markings of bid: original technical, original financial, enclosed in a single envelope, marked original bid. Each bid shall contain the name of the contracted bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient back, procuring entity, and the markings not opened before the date and time of the opening of bid. bids. Ganun din po sa ating copy 1. Yung copy 1 and original bid shall then be enclosed in a mother envelope. Each envelope shall contain the name of the contract we bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient back, procuring entity, and the markings not open before the date and time of the opening of bids. Unsealed and unmarked bids shall not be accepted. Not compressed and not password protected shall not be accepted. Improperly sealed and marked bids shall be accepted. Improperly compressed and password protected shall be accepted, provided that the contractor acknowledges the condition of the bid as received by the amount. Submission and receipt of bids. For bid modification po, bid modification must be submitted before the deadline of submission of bids. The bidder shall not be allowed to retrieve its original bid, however, it shall submit a new bid, equally sealed, properly identify the link to its original bid, and mark as a modification. For letter of withdrawals must be received prior to the deadline for submission and receipt of bids. For bids withdrawn between the interval between the deadline and expiration of bid validity, the bid security shall be forfeited. For electronic submission of bids, bidders shall send another bid equally secured, properly identified and labeled as a modification of the one previously submitted. The time indicated in the bid receipt page generated shall be the official time of submission. Meron po tayong two modes of submission of bid, either manual submission of bid or electronic submission of bid. A bidder may opt only one mode lang po sa pag-submit ng kanilang bid. For manual submission of bid, yan po ay sa Box Secretariat Office, DPWH Sorsogon 2nd District Engineering Office, Barangay Payawin, Gogon, Sorsogon. For electronic submission of bids, yan po sa electronic bids_sorsogon 2 at dpwh.gov.ph. Eligibility criteria. The following persons or entities shall be allowed to participate in the bidding of infrastructure projects. Letter A, duly licensed Filipino citizen or sole proprietorships, partnerships duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, and in which at least 60% of the interest belongs to the citizens of the Philippines. Corporations duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, and in which at least 60% of the outstanding capital stock belongs to the citizens of the Philippines. Cooperatives duly organized under the laws of the Philippines are persons, entities forming themselves into a joint venture. Foreign bidders may be eligible to participate in the procurement of infrastructure projects when provided for under any treaty or international or executive agreement as provided in Section 4 of the Act of the IRR of RA 12009. Bidders must have a valid PCAM license, must have a single largest completed contract that is similar to a contract in bid, at least 50% of the ABC. The single largest completed contract shall be supported by the owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES or similar performance and monitoring system. Contractors under small A and small B categories without similar experience, provided the cost of the contract to be bid is not more than the ARCC administration. Bidders must have an NFCC at least equal to the ABC of the contract to be bid. Eligibility and technical documents. Contractors, applicants who wish to participate in this bidding must be in the document request list (DRL) of the PhilJobs website and secure a printout copy showing that they are included in the list, and are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works application in the DPWH Procurement Service (PRS), 5th floor DPWH Building, Bonifacio Drive, Port Area, Manila, while those who are already enrolled shall keep their records current and updated. The contractor's eligibility to bid the project will be determined using this DPWH contractor profile eligibility process, CPEP, and subject to further post-qualification. We encourage our bidders to enroll in the CWA to facilitate the fast evaluation of their eligibility. If registered na po sa CWA, ito lang po ang kailangan lang submit ng mga documents: pick-up license and registration in case of joint venture, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, statement of bidder's single largest completed contract, computation of the NFCC, valid joint venture agreement if applicable. If not registered in the CWA, these are the documents they have to submit for: PhilJobs certificate of registration, platinum membership, pick-up license and registration in case of joint venture, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, statement of bidder's single largest completed contract, computation of the NFCC, valid joint venture agreement if applicable. Mandatory requirements, yan po ang mga bid security in a form of cash or manager's check, bank draft, bank guarantee, 2% of the ABC. Surety bond callable upon demand, 5% of the ABC. Or you can submit po yung bid securing declaration. Please be guided po ng ating RA 12009 sa format po ng ating bid securing declaration. Any omission po sa mga clauses ng ating bid securing declaration shall be grounds po for disqualification. Project requirements, organizational chart for the contract to bid, list of contractors' key personnel, list of contractors' major equipment units, owned, leased, or under purchased agreement. Latest General Information Sheet, GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for corporations lang po, pero kung mga single proprietorship, hindi na po ito kailangan. ISO 9001-2015 certification or its latest versions as applicable, in compliance with Department Order 110 Series of 2024. Omnibus Sworn Statement, duly notarized. Please be guided po ulit ng ating RA 12009 sa format po ng ating Omnibus Sworn Statement. Any omission po sa mga clauses ng ating Omnibus Sworn Statement shall be grounds po for disqualification. Statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. The statement of the bidder of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to bid. The statement shall include all information required in the bidding documents. Yan po ang sample ng ating bid securing declaration, Omnibus Sworn Statement. Second envelope, the financial proposal. Ang laman naman po niyan ay ang bid form, summary bid prices in the bill of quantities, detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of materials, labor, and equipment, cash flow by quarter, month, and payment schedule. Other documents required in the bidding documents. Please be guided po ng ating RA 12009 sa format po ng ating bid form. Any omission din po sa mga clauses ng ating bid form shall be grounds din po for disqualification. For detailed evaluation of bid, ang purpose po niyan is determining the lowest calculated bid by establishing correct calculated prices on bids, ranking calculated total bid prices from lowest to highest. Ang method is a non-discretionary criterion shall be used, which shall include consideration of completeness of bids and minor arithmetical corrections. The result shall be contained in the abstract of bids. In case of discrepancies between the bid price in figures versus bid price in words, the bid price in words shall prevail. Total price per item versus the total price for the item times the quantity. The unit price for the item times the quantity shall prevail. The stated total price versus the actual sum of component items, the actual sum of prices of component items shall prevail. The unit cost in the detailed estimate versus the unit cost in the bill of quantities, the unit cost in the bill of quantities shall prevail. Reminders po sa ating mga bidders of the no contact rule, prohibition on communication with bidders from bid evaluation until the award of contract. For post-qualification po, ang purpose po niya is to determine whether the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents. To be declared as the lowest calculated responsive bid. Ang method po is a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion shall be used to verify, validate, and ascertain all statements and documents submitted by the lowest calculated bid. Post-qualification po in compliance with the 09 series of 2012, if a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that 1. The personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and 2. He/she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office. Also to be verified during post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidder should specify in the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any piece of the equipment is not in the specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. Common reasons for bidders' disqualification. Letter A, late submission of bids. Submission of patently insufficient bid. Under submission of patently insufficient bid, then on submission of expired field job certificate of registration, failure to include certificate of employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm and curriculum vitae, failure to submit the required bid form, submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to the non-inclusion or omission of mandatory provisions and statements of the required bid forms, submission of bid form, bid securing declaration, omnibus sworn statement without the legal name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative, nomination of key personnel of the profession different from what is required by the bidding documents, failure to submit the required certification of the key personnel as per Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012, failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment, failure to submit proof of ownership of lease or purchase agreement of pledged equipment, insufficient NFCC or insufficient SLCC. Thank you.
So may mga questions pa po? Again, members? Wala na. So since wala na, this private conference is now adjourned.